Assalamu alaikum. This is Shahrukh Mujumdar welcoming you all to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. President of International Federation for Human Rights, Alice Mogwe, calls on Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus, discusses overall global human rights situation. International Crimes Tribunal takes cognizance of charges against 4, including Mahbubul Alam Hanif, in crimes against humanity in July uprising. Election Commission committed to organizing fair and transparent elections, says Chief Election Commissioner. Bangladesh will witness election based on people's expectation and he will remain with people, says BNP Acting Chairperson Tariq Rahman. Buddhist celebrating Proborona Purnima, one of the biggest festivals, with due solemnity and religious festivity. Two US-based scientists and their Japanese peer win 2025 Nobel Prize in Medicine. And Bangladesh whitewash Afghanistan by 6 wickets in third and final T20 international in Sharjah. Those were the headlines. Now moving on to the details. International Federation for Human Rights (FIDH) President Alice Mogwe called on Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus at the State Guest House Jamuna in the capital today. The two leaders held a wide-ranging discussion on the human rights situation in Bangladesh and across the globe. Professor Yunus thanked Ms. Mogwe for her visit and emphasized the importance of increased international engagement during the pivotal period for the country. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza was a key topic during the meeting. Ms. Mogwe outlined FIDH's ongoing efforts to support the people of Gaza and expressed appreciation for Professor Yunus's steadfast solidarity. She commended the interim government, led by Professor Muhammad Yunus, for its commitment to upholding human rights and democratic principles. Reflecting on 15 years of autocratic rule, Ms. Mogwe expressed concern over enforced disappearances and the silencing of dissent under the previous Bangladesh administration. She also acknowledged the growing momentum for change among Bangladesh's youth. Director General of the Islamic World Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, ISSCO, Dr. Salim M. Al-Malik, paid a courtesy call on Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus at the State Guest House Jamuna today. During the meeting, Dr. Al-Malik expressed his deep admiration for Professor Yunus and his globally influential initiatives. Dr. Al-Malik voiced strong support for the Chief Advisor's reform agenda and the interim government's broader vision for a transformed Bangladesh. He also sought permission to incorporate Professor Yunus's 3-0 theory: zero poverty, zero unemployment, and zero net carbon emissions, into ISSCO's strategic framework for youth education and environmental initiatives. Professor Yunus praised ISSCO's efforts in education and sustainability and welcomed the prospect of future collaboration to empower youth and scale innovative social business solutions across member states. Education advisor Professor Siyar Abrar was also present at the meeting. The cross-examination of Muhammad Alamgir, the chief investigating officer in the case filed against ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and 2 others over crimes against humanity committed during the July mass uprising, is underway for the 2nd day. The cross-examination began today before the judicial panel of International Crimes Tribunal 1, headed by Chairman Justice Muhammad Ghulam Murtuja Mujumdar. The other 2 members of the tribunal are Justice Shafiul Alam Mahmood and Justice Muhitul Haq Enam Chaudhary. State defense lawyer Amir Hussain conducted the cross-examination of the 54th witness, the chief investigating officer, Muhammad Alamgir. Earlier, over a period of 25 days, the tribunal completed the testimony of a total of 54 witnesses. Among them, 48 are eyewitnesses and 5 seizure list witnesses. Meanwhile, the International Crimes Tribunal has taken into cognizance 3 separate charges, including 6 murderers against Mahbubul Alam Hanif and 3 others for crimes against humanity committed during the July mass uprising. The 3-member judicial panel of Tribunal 2, headed by Chairman Justice Nazrul Islam Chaudhary, accepted the charges today. Later, while briefing journalists, Chief Prosecutor Muhammad Tajul Islam said the Tribunal 2 has fixed October 14th for the hearing on the framing of charges in this case. In another development, the International Crimes Tribunal 2 today began recording testimonies for the 9th day in the case filed over crimes against humanity in connection with the murder of Abu Said, the first martyr of the July-August mass uprising, against 30 accused, including former Vice-Chancellor of Begum Rokeya University, Hasibur Rashid. The testimony began in the morning before the judicial panel led by Justice Nazrul Islam Chaudhary, chairman of Tribunal 2. Testimony was ongoing till the last report was received. Chief Election Commissioner CEC AMM Nasiruddin said the current Election Commission is committed to organizing a fair and transparent election. The CEC said the media will serve as the main channel for delivering the Election Commission's message to the public. He made these remarks today during a dialogue with senior journalists from electronic media at the Election Commission building in the capital. The CEC emphasized that without media cooperation, it is impossible to create a level playing field and an environment conducive to a fair election. Therefore, he sought everyone's support in this regard. AMM Nasiruddin also highlighted the crucial role of electronic media in preventing the misuse of artificial intelligence. During the dialogue, Election Commissioner retired Brigadier General Abul Fazl Muhammad Sanaullah said the Commission would initially print 1 million ballot papers for expatriate voting. Media representatives participating in the discussion assured that they would extend full cooperation to the Election Commission to ensure a fair national election. BNP acting chairperson Tariq Rahman has said that Bangladesh will witness the kind of election its people expect, and he will remain among the people during the polls time. In an interview with BBC Bangla, Tariq Rahman said, although he is physically in Britain, his heart and mind have remained in Bangladesh for the past 17 years. Tariq Rahman added that he would return to the country soon. He reaffirmed the BNP's long-standing position that holding elections without delay is essential to restoring stability in the country. The BNP acting chairperson further said that the government is aiming to hold the election by February, and the BNP wants to place its trust in all efforts being taken to ensure the polls are conducted properly. BNP Standing Committee member Salahuddin Ahmed said almost all political parties have reached a consensus on implementing the July National Charter. He opined that national election in February and the referendum on the July National Charter's implementation could be held simultaneously. Salahuddin Ahmed made the observation while speaking at a discussion titled Challenges and Prospects of the Upcoming Election. Nagorik Jubo co-organized the discussion today at the National Press Club in the capital. Nagorik Jubo co-convener Mahfuzul Islam Khan presided over the event, while Nagorik Oiko President Mahmudur Rahman Manna, Revolutionary Workers' Party General Secretary Saiful Haq, AB Party Chairman Mujibur Rahman Manju, and Gano Adhikar Parishad General Secretary Rashid Khan, among others, addressed it. Salahuddin Ahmed said the era of fascist politics had ended through mass uprising. However, he stressed that the final verdict on what he described as the fascist politics of the Awami League should come through a court ruling rather than an executive order to ensure international legitimacy. However, he said the final decision on the Awami League's fascist politics should come from the court, not through an executive order, to gain international acceptance. Buddhists across the country, including the port city of Chattogram, are celebrating one of the biggest festivals, Prabarana Purnima, with due solemnity and religious festivity today. Prabarana, or the Ashini Purnima, marks the end of the 3-month-long seclusion of the monks inside their monasteries for self-edification and atonement of their defilement. Fanush or flying lanterns are flown on the day in different Buddhist monasteries and localities marking the day. A month-long yellow robe offering ceremony to the Buddhist monks will begin tomorrow. Meanwhile, Shommilito Prabarana Purnima Ujjapan Parishad has organized Fanush flying program at the Nondankanan Buddhist Monastery premises this evening. BNP Standing Committee member Amir Khusru Muhammad Chaudhry was present in the program as the chief guest. Chattogram City Corporation Mayor Dr. Shahadat Hussain inaugurated the event. A number of devotees and Buddhist religious leaders were present on the occasion. Now international news. Two US-based scientists and their Japanese peer, Mary E. Brunko, Fred Rumsdell and Shimon Sakaguchi, won the 2025 Nobel Prize in Medicine. The Nobel Assembly at Karolinska Institute announced this today. The institute said in a statement that the three were awarded for their groundbreaking discoveries concerning peripheral immune tolerance that prevents the immune system from harming the body. 64-year-old Brunko is a senior program manager at the Institute for Systems Biology in Seattle. Rumsdell, 64, is a scientific advisor for Sonoma Biotherapeutics in San Francisco. Sakaguchi, 74, is a distinguished professor at the Immunology Frontier Research Center at Osaka University in Japan. The immune system has many overlapping systems to detect and fight bacteria, viruses, and other pathogens. Key immune warriors such as T cells are trained to recognize and target harmful agents. If some instead go awry in a way that might trigger autoimmune diseases, they are supposed to be eliminated in these thymus, a process called central tolerance. U.S. President Donald Trump urged everyone involved in efforts to end the Gaza war to move fast as mediators are set to meet in Egypt on Monday for indirect peace talks between Hamas and Israel. The talks come after Hamas agreed to some parts of a 20-point U.S. peace plan, including freeing hostages and handing over Gaza governance to Palestinian technocrats, but is seeking negotiations on other issues. The group's response did not mention the key demands of its disarmament and playing no future role in Gaza's governance. Writing on social media that talks had been very successful, Trump said, "I'm told the first phase should be completed this week and I'm asking everyone to move fast." Palestinian group Hamas said on Sunday that its delegation headed by Khalil al-Hayya had arrived in Sharm el-Sheikh and would begin the negotiations on Monday on the mechanisms for a ceasefire, the withdrawal of Israeli occupation forces, and a prisoner exchange. The Israeli delegation led by top negotiator Ron Dermer will leave on Monday for the talks, the office of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said. Hopes for a possible ceasefire in Gaza grew after Netanyahu said on Friday that he was hopeful a deal to release all the remaining captives could be announced this week. Despite a call from Trump for Israel to pause its Gaza offensive, the Israeli army has continued its bombing campaign. At least 24 Palestinians were killed by Israeli troops on Sunday, sources told Al Jazeera Arabic. Among the victims were 4 asylum seekers who were shot near an aid distribution center north of Rafah. International activists deported from Israel after joining an intercepted Gaza aid flotilla have given further accounts of mistreatment by Kurds during their detention. The latest claims made by participants in the global Samud flotilla added to the growing scrutiny to Israel on Sunday for its treatment of the activists. Some 450 participants in the flotilla were arrested between Wednesday and Friday as Israeli forces intercepted the boats, which were seeking to break a naval blockade of Gaza and deliver a symbolic amount of aid to Palestinians in the besieged territory. Speaking at Rome's Fiumicino airport on his return on Sunday, Italian activist Syria Tofani said, "We were treated from army, we moved on the police." Italian journalist Saverio Tomasi, who landed at Fiumicino airport late on Saturday, said Israeli soldiers had withheld medicines and treated the detained activists like monkeys, the Associated Press reported. He said the Israeli guards mocked the detained activists, who included Swedish climate campaigner Greta Thunberg, Nelson Mandela's grandson, Mandela, and several European lawmakers in order to demean, ridicule, and laugh in situations where there is nothing to laugh about. As Israeli forces on Friday captured the last remaining vessel from the global Samud flotilla that aimed to break Israel's blockade of the Gaza Strip and deliver humanitarian aid, another group of boats was headed for the Palestinian territory. The 11 vessels, most of which started sailing last week, are carrying over 150 healthcare workers, journalists and activists, according to organizers the Freedom Flotilla Coalition (FFC) and 1,000 Madeleines to Gaza. The death toll from the collapse of a school in Indonesia has risen to 54, authorities said, with rescuers still searching for more than a dozen missing people. Hundreds of students, most of them teenage boys, had gathered for prayers at the Al-Quzini Islamic boarding school in East Java when it collapsed last Monday while undergoing construction. Indonesia's disaster mitigation agency says it is the country's deadliest disaster this year. Rescuers are expected to complete their search for 13 victims trapped under the rubble by the end of the day. Investigators are still looking into the cause of the collapse. Some officials said the two-story building caved in because its foundation was unstable. Out of all the disasters in 2025, natural or not, there hasn't been as many dead victims as the ones in Sidoarjo. Budi Irwawan, a deputy at the Disaster Mitigation Agency, told a press conference. The toll includes at least 2 people who were freed from the debris but later died in hospital. Al-Quzini is a traditional Islamic boarding school in Indonesia known as a peasantern.